Hey everyone, for this video I want to show you how to take your classroom discussions online to the next level, and that's with a new tool called Kialo-Edu. It is important that you use the Kialo-Edu, not just Kialo.com, because the Kialo-Edu.com puts you into an educational atmosphere in which your stuff, your conversations, your debates with your students are not going to go global. If you just use Kialo.com, it is global and there isn't the same protections that the education side of it offers. So make sure you're using Kialo-Edu.com for this. So the home screen this is what it looks like. You have your own thing. What this platform is designed to do is to allow for really simple online debate with your students. It goes far beyond just your normal classroom discussion. So what it looks like is here's your home screen, you just click New, you give it a title, and then you provide a question in the thesis box. Your question could also be the name of your Kialo as well, but I'm just going to put to what extent, and then there it is. You can choose the language you want it in. If you would like, they also have a topic library. If you're not quite sure what you want to ask, you can just browse their library. Then you can either skip and create, or you can click on to the next link here. Now the next part is pretty cool. You can either do a single thesis or multiple theses within the same debate or discussion. If you do single theses, it's just going to be that one question at the top. To what extent do you agree that blue is the best color? Whatever it might be. However, if you choose multiple theses, you can add multiple questions about a topic. So for example, maybe you're in your English class and you're having your kids read A Midsummer Night's Dream. You could have maybe 4 or 5 different questions available for them to answer, all within the same platform. But to keep it simple, I'm just going to go with the single theses, and I'm going to move on to the next. You have the ability to add a background image if you'd like, or to provide background information, even including links. So if you have maybe a reading you want your students to do before they do this debate, you can add the link to the reading here, and then the students can read it and then continue the debate. This is the next part. This is what I really love about it as a teacher, is they have this task bar. Now what I can do is I can enable tasks. And what this is now I can set qualifiers for my students. For example, if I'm doing a single thesis, I want my students to write X amount of claims. Now, if I'm just doing a single thesis or a single question, probably just one. I want my students to write one original claim. If you have maybe 5 questions, you're doing 4 or 5 questions about A Midsummer Night's Dream, maybe you want them to answer 2 or 3 of the questions, and so you might want to adjust this number. The next one is that you can require them to write a certain amount of claims under other people's. So now if I choose this, I can say, you know what, I want them to respond to at least 3 of their peers. The next one is writing claims under their own claims. This one I normally leave off because I feel like if they've done a good job in writing their first claim, they don't really need to write a second one. If you want your students to link to a source, you can check this box. And then finally, the students can vote on claims. So I just put in here and I'll say they need to vote on 5 different claims. And so they can vote, and on other people's claims, other people's responses, they can vote on a 0 through 4 scale based on what they think the quality of the answer is. So now that I've got some boxes checked, this will allow me, by enabling tasks, to actually grade my students as well within this platform. Now, the next one is standard participation or anonymous participation. I've used both. They both work really well. Just understand, if you go to anonymous participation, they get randomly assigned names that the students cannot see. However, the teacher, the creator of the Kialo, can see who posted what. So you may want to do anonymous participation. I typically just do the standard participation, and as the students log in with their school email addresses, it auto adds their first name in. Next, you can adjust some of the options. Show authors above. This is only for admins, but you can change it for everybody. If you don't want students to be able to vote, you can uncheck this, or if you leave it on, you can put it so only the admins can see the votes, or only the users can see their own votes. So there's a couple different options there. And then the last one is enable grading and feedback. If you want to give this as a grade, you can do this. So here's where you put 0 to 4, you can choose. So I typically do 0 to 4 because it matches standards-based grading. And then who you want to be able to see the grades and feedback. Now, probably you only want people to see their own grade. Once you've done that, everything is set up and ready to go. All you got to do is click the check mark here, and it will create your Kialo for you. Now here it is. There's nothing here. I didn't create a question or anything. So from here, I'm actually going to show you a couple that I've made. So I'm going to go back to my home screen. And I actually did this with dropping the atomic bomb with my students on whether it was an acceptable outcome for the United States to do. So here you can see this is what my home screen looks like for this. And each one of these little lines around the circle is an original response. And then each one after that is a response to another student's claim. So you can see that some students had 3 or 4 people respond to their claim. Other people had 0 people respond to their claim. The green represents they agreed with the claim or that it was a positive statement, and red indicates that it was a negative or a contradictory claim on this chart. Then I can scroll down, I can see all of my students and exactly how many claims they wrote, all their different tasks, but then I can go in and I can enter it, and I can actually see in here my tree. These are all the green were all the people that wrote that they actually agreed that the dropping of the atomic bombs was justified, and then all the red are the ones that aren't. So from here, I can go in and students can, all they have to do is click on either the plus on green or plus on red, and then they can add their own claim. But then they can come to other people's, they can click on it, and they can now respond to that claim with counter arguments or supporting evidence. So there's a lot that students can do, and you can see over on the left side of the screen, this is what the students will see as well. So I had assigned 6 different tasks for this. Now I am the teacher, I didn't answer any of this, but as students do it, it will fill up and it will say, 0 to 1. As soon as they write an original claim, it will switch to 1 out of 1. If they've done 2 claims to others, it'll do this. So it actually fills in really, really quick. And that is what it looks like. You can also switch to the circle view as well. Now, I wanted you to see what it looks like on the multiple thesis. I did not do this with my students because I don't teach English. But if I jump in here, you can see I had basically a prompt at the top, basically what's going on in this activity. And then underneath it, I have 4 different questions about the story that kids could choose to respond to. And to do that, all they'd have to do is just click on it and then click pro or con, and there you go. And then they can vote as well. So in this case, no one's voted, but all I have to do, this is the voting screen. All you have to do is click the little bar graph here, and then you can choose. I can give it a 4, like I thought that was an awesome answer, or you know what, I felt like maybe that answer could have been better. It was missing a few things. And then if I feel like I want to give comments, I can also provide comments as well. Instead of just a pro or con, I can provide a comment to this. So there are a ton of options within this, and it has a lot of freedom, but it's a great way of integrating a debate in a digital way into your class. I love using it as either an entry task to review previous content, have the students debate something, or at the end of task as a closure activity, kind of a ticket out the door. These can be done very, very quickly, or it could be an entire lesson if you have multiple theses or multiple questions. So the last thing I want to share is how do you get this to your students? And if you're inside your Kialo, you just go up to the share button. It will turn blue. And then from here, you just choose how you want to share it. It's really, really easy. If you just want to enable sharing the link, it will give you a link right here. You can just drop that into Canvas, either into an assignment or an announcement, however you want to do it. Just make sure you choose Writer so that students can add things to it, but they don't have the ability to edit your original Kialo. There are a few other options. You can even create your own teams and add students that way. But the link works really, really well. It's very, very quick. I hope this helps, and I hope you can use Kialo in your own classrooms.